Chapter 3. Poor darling. "I can quite well manage the suitcase," she cried, seeing him bent sideways by the weight. "No," he said, "I'll carry it." He did not want to watch her struggling. He liked to see her stride, coat swinging, perfect balance maintained. Who would have thought such little feet could walk all by themselves and carry a full-grown woman? Her heels bit down hard on the hard surface of the platform, and Adam expected to see a row of tiny hoofprints appear, with exquisite precision, one in front of the other. Connie slapped along beside her, a wonderful object of comparison. Anyone would look exquisite, set next to Connie. "This'll do, won't it, Con? Open the door, darling. Darling, the door!" Adam turned the handle, and the little hooves went up, hop-skip, while Connie pancaked behind, and he was left to close the door and shunt the suitcase into the compartment. "Not in the rack, darling, you'll ruin yourself. There's a little place between the seats." Adam pursued the case along the gangway, steering it with his toe. But the compartment was already full, and there was another suitcase in the little place, squatting there like a toad in the hole. "It'll have to go up above," said Connie, cigarette already plugged in and exhaling toxic fumes. She yanked the suitcase off the floor and rammed it into the overhead rack. Simultaneously, the train jerked into motion, and for a disagreeable moment, Connie seemed to be swinging from the roof. "Whoops!" cried Connie, an unidentified primate, ululating through the jungle from tree to tree. "Sit down, Connie. Sit down, darling. Sit by me." She gathered up the fur-collared coat, which, without her inside it, had collapsed from exhaustion. "Have the window seat," said Connie, walloping him into place, much as she had dealt with the suitcase. He sat by the window, and Connie settled into folds beside him. Across the table his mother reactivated herself. The feet were at rest, the hands came into play. They opened her handbag to fetch out cigarettes, lighter and purse. "I suppose one can get a drink on these things." "Just sit still for a moment," said Connie. "I'll go on to the buffet and get you a coffee." "I don't know that I want one just yet. You go and get yourself a coffee, Con." "No, Adam will get one for you, won't you, darling?" "I'll go in a minute," said Connie. "I can wait. You sit there and get your breath back." "Adam can go see if there's somewhere to get a drink. It might be miles down the train. You don't mind, do you, darling? No, wait a moment. It might be in the other direction. We were in such a hurry I didn't notice." A young man leaned across the gangway. "It's in the next carriage but one, that way, through first class." She did not look at him. His assistants had not been invited. "I wonder if there's anywhere to sit. There may be a dining car." "There's a buffet car," said the young man. "They don't serve meals on this train." "You'd better go look, darling." She continued to stare widely away from the young man, and he went back to reading his magazine. "No rush," said Connie. "Let's wait until we both want one." "Just go and look, darling." "Sit down, Adam," said Connie. "I'll go in a moment." "Have you got a cigarette, Con?" "Oh, no, not one of those disgusting things. Where on earth are mine? I must have dropped them in the taxi. Do you think they sell them in the buffet?" "Yours are on the table," said Connie. "So they are. Oh, it's an empty packet." "Darling, run along and see if they have any. You can get Connie's coffee at the same time." "I'll go," said Connie, massively immovable. "Have one of mine. They aren't so bad if you keep your eyes shut." "They smell like a fire in a potato clamp. No. Oh, darling, do get a move on," she said. "Can I have some money?" said Adam. "Money?" Adam felt he had dropped a stone into a limpid pool and fouled it. "What happened to that £1 I gave you?" "I had to pay for the taxi. Connie only had a £5. "But £1? It can't be £1 from Cannon Street." "No, I had to give him a tip." "I suppose I must owe you £1 then, darling." "I've still only got a £5, said Connie. "I haven't got any money at all," said Adam, hands open purse. "Well, here's another £1. Now do hurry up, darling." Adam took the note and climbed over the rolling dunes and lush valleys of Connie's lap. "Just the one coffee, darling, and 20 king size, any kind." "Can I have a Coke?" "Oh, darling, tooth rot." "Can I?" "Damn, the flint's gone. Have you got any flints, Con?" Adam swayed along the corridor, past the first-class compartment, chivied by a silent chant. "Damn, the flint's gone. Have you got any flints, Con?" Con. Connie Hips. Lucy and Jonathan called it the Hippo, Rose Hips. Simon, with his taste for the arcane, preferred the Hippogriff. Adam, however, could see that it was foolish to try and improve on perfection, like carving cameos on a meringue, for Connie began with a very small head, went down and relentlessly out, and then in again, abruptly dwindling away towards the ankles. She would spin very nicely on either end. He found the buffet car laid out like a cafe, with Formica-topped tables. The Coke came in a tin, but Connie's coffee expanded to a paper carton, lumps of wrapped sugar, a spoon, a smaller carton of milk. He stowed it all about his person and went back to his carriage. Look, no hands. Oh, darling, wasn't there a buffet after all? On his behalf, accusing, she looked towards the young man, but he was asleep. Silently, Adam began to unpack himself. The coffee carton was in his right pocket, the can of Coke in his left. The milk was up his sleeve, and the sugar in the hip pocket of his jeans. The spoon nestled under his watch strap, and he had tucked the straw for the Coke behind his ear. His mother began to laugh. Oh, darling, you are priceless. Look at him, Con. Darling, where are my cigarettes? £1 wasn't enough. Everything's gone up. I see you bought your Coke, though. Where's the change? Here. Can I keep it towards my £1? No. I'll give that to you when we arrive. Would another 20 be enough? Yes. I think you should pay for the Coke yourself. It's ruinous. I haven't got any money. He went for the cigarettes, colliding in the doorway with a woman, one of the itinerant passengers who were still ranging up and down the train looking for a seat. When he returned, he found she was sitting next to his mother. She had clearly made an unsolicited effort to be pleasant, since his mother was staring out of the window. The fur-collared coat was piled onto the table, as a sign of silent reproach to the woman who had taken its place. Connie ripped the lid from her coffee carton and began to add things to it. The plastic spoon melted and curled up. British rubbish, said Connie, trying to bite the spoon back into shape. Peter said we ought to travel first class. I didn't think it'd be worth it on such a short journey. I didn't realise we'd be so cramped. My change, darling, don't be sly. You'll get your money at Norwich. Darling, what are you doing with those cards? I must have been mad to come up without Peter. He can't get away until tomorrow. You said we could have a game, said Adam. What about the others? Lucy and the boys aren't coming till Friday. Well, can we? What, darling? Play cards. You said we could play cards. You said you'd like to. All right, darling. It'll be a hell of a squeeze, but I suppose we shall make out. We're really only keeping the house on for holidays. After the wedding, we shall be in town most of the time. Will you keep the flat? Oh, darling, wait a moment. No, didn't I tell you? I've already had an offer for it. You will miss having somewhere of your own after all this time, said Connie. She knocked the end of her cigarettes and began foraging among her skirts after it. Sally's given me first refusal of her cottage. It's on Rollersby Broad. She wants 30,000 for it, though. That shack? It's worth it, to me. I've been alone for 7 years. I must have somewhere to preserve something of myself. Alone? Adam thought. Where was I, then? Oh, I'm sure I'm on fire. Poker? What? Shall we play poker? Look, I've got all these halfpennies. I won't play for money, darling. It's not real money. He's right, said Connie. It's not real money. Can you smell burning? I've been saving them, said Adam. Every time I get some change, I put the halfpence aside. I thought you said you hadn't got any money. It's not real money. What about pontoon? I won't play for money. The garden road goes right down to the water's edge. It's a 90-foot frontage, half an acre. Simon doesn't mind playing for money, said Adam. Darling, I'm not Simon. We'll play snap. He guessed that she wanted a game where she could go on talking. She was so nervous. He was anguished by her nervousness. Shall I deal? Please, darling. You know, Con, Simon's marvellous with him, a real storybook big brother. I was so afraid that none of them would get on, but it's working out wonderfully. Jonathan's practically Adam's best friend. Of course, they hardly ever meet. Suppose I hadn't got on? Oh, Adam gets on with everyone. He's so conciliatory. Adam began to deal with 3 hands. Not me, said Connie. He started again. Simon and Jonathan were about to become his stepbrothers, Lucy his stepsister. His mother often said that he was called Adam because his father had insisted. Although Adam's memory of his father did not include insistence, he imagined that she was glad now, because it had turned out to be the right sort of name. He was also called Ivor, his father's own name, and that wasn't right at all. It was being quietly disposed of, along with the flat, the louche friend, 7 hard years without a man, Barbara Mrs. Owen, the Welshman's widow. She never called him Adam to his face, or Ivor, always darling. For 7 years he had taken it for granted, as his due. Now he was one of 4 darlings and felt diminished. The endearment had become a coin of no value, like the despised halfpennies, not real money. "I dealt, you start," he said. They played one game and Adam lost, another and Adam lost again. "You're lucky today," he said. "It must have been that ladder you didn't walk under at Liverpool Street." "He's an awfully good loser," she said. "Jonathan beats him at everything and he never minds." "Be nice to Jonathan, darling. He still misses his mother terribly. Oh, terribly. Terrible. He could understand that." "Why is it called Liverpool Street? It's nowhere near Liverpool." It was not worth beating Jonathan at anything. He raised hell if he did. "Well, darling, Oxford Street's nowhere near Oxford, is it? I expect it was named after Lord Liverpool." "Was there a Lord Liverpool?" It sounded phony, like Lord Broadstairs, Lord Charing Cross. "It would hardly be named after Bert Liverpool, would it?" said Connie, under the impression that Bert was a name favoured by the common man. "Oh, darling, I don't think I can play another game just yet. Would you like to run along to the buffet? I think I'd quite enjoy that coffee now." She was speaking more and more loudly. Adam knew why. The train was aimed at the rural bulge of East Anglia, and the 3 men in seats behind, owners of the towed suitcase, were chatting in amiable but alien accents. "Best you do. That don't. I aren't arguing." Her voice became sharper and more southern with every sentence, as though she feared the deep green country would swallow her up into an unmarked grave, unless she kept her flag flying. "Darling, you don't mind going again, do you? Connie, do you want another cup? Well, it's not exactly a cup, is it?" Connie shook her head and grunted. Adam climbed over her to the gangway. "What about the money?" he said, and struck a gangster pose. "Where's Damazuma?" "Darling!" She was affronted. "You don't mind going, do you?" "Of course not, but I haven't got any money." "What about all those halfpence?" "I can't give them that. They'd think I was trying to be funny." "Yes, darling, you do try, don't you?" "Anyway, it's my poker money." She opened her purse and counted out coins. He began to leave. "He's awfully sullen sometimes, Con. I sometimes wonder." He bobbed back again. "Sugar?" "Darling, you know I never do." "Now push off." "Push off" came out through a smile full of teeth. He struck a false note. A whole cacophony of false notes, and he had been so careful. He walked all a-jangle down the first-class corridor. Perhaps it was Connie and not him. He had nothing against Connie, but he wished she had travelled separately. She was not wanted on voyage, and it was the last voyage, the very last. Connie was asleep by the time he came back, head bouncing like a football in a string bag, and gargling sonorously. He struggled into his seat and pushed the coffee across the table. His mother appeared to notice him with a start. "Darling, where have you been?" "I had to queue." He did not mention that he had walked to the other end of the train first, to see if anyone would remark his absence. It had been remarked. "Do you want another game yet?" "Don't nag, darling." She lit a cigarette and reclined in the little space available, glancing between drags at the interloping woman who had occupied the adjacent seat. Adam dealt himself a hand of patience and watched her also. He had thought at first she was middle-aged. Her hair was greying, and a groove ran vertically between her eyebrows, as if her forehead had been made in 2 halves and pushed together. But her clothes were not grandmotherly. They were the kind of clothes his mother wore at weekends when there was no one to see, or had done before there was anyone to look. She would never have worn them on a train, these haphazard layers of cotton and corduroy. The woman was reading a book and making notes in a folder on her lap, since there was no room on the table for a folder and the fur-collared coat. Adam plucked idly at the patience. His mother lit another cigarette, and Connie honked fitfully like a distant locomotive, belting across the prairie wastes. The woman turned her book face down and took off her glasses, rubbing her eyes. Adam saw then she could be no older than his mother, only more weathered. It seemed to him very sad that anyone so young should be so well worn, and he began to look, as he always did at plain and ageing women, to see if she had a wedding ring, as it seemed even sadder that such people should be alone as well. Of course, they might be widowed, but at least they had had someone once. He saw the ring, and something else. She was missing the top 2 joints from the 2 middle fingers of her left hand. He glanced away quickly, but not quickly enough. His mother followed his eyes, as she always did when they were about their own business, and saw the lopped hand resting on the book. The woman looked nowhere in particular. Possibly she was accustomed to people staring at her hand and no longer cared. Without her glasses she saw nothing, he hoped. "Darling?" "Yes?" "Would you like another game of cards? Connie's dead to the world." All right, he said, unsuspecting. The patients won't come out. I'll deal, shall I? He was not unsuspecting for long. His mother's intelligent fingers deliberately crushed the coffee carton and flicked it aside. Then they rounded up the scattered cards, sifting, riffling, trilling. Look how clever we are. We can do everything that's expected of us, and we're all here. You lay first, darling. He slapped a queen of hearts on the table, and she covered it with a queen of spades, fingers pouncing and flicking up skittishly. Snap, darling, wake up. 7 of diamonds, 2 of clubs, queen of clubs, 6 of diamonds, 9 of hearts, 9 of spades. She was a lousy shuffler for all the fingers. Snap, darling. Are you falling asleep like poor Connie? No one could fall asleep like poor Connie. She wallowed in slumber, open-mouthed. 2 of spades, king of diamonds, 3 of clubs, king of spades, king of clubs. Snap, darling. He wanted the game over and missed every call. The fingers skipped up and down, especially, he thought, the ring fingers. On the left, the new engagement ring. On the right, being discreetly phased out, the old engagement ring and the old wedding ring. On Saturday, he supposed, they would disappear altogether. 8 of diamonds, 8 of hearts. Snap! Ace of diamonds, ace of clubs. Snap! The woman gazed nowhere. Surely she could see what was going on. He wanted to explain. Excuse me, my mother's not doing it on purpose. She doesn't mean to. Nervous. Snap! Darling, you're getting terribly sulky. It's no good expecting to win if you don't attend. And a laboratory finger waved under his nose. But I assure you, madam, there's no harm in it. Just... You said I was an awfully good loser. I don't mind losing. It's no good being an awfully good loser if you don't even try to win. Better than trying to win and being a bad loser, he said, thinking of Jonathan. I don't think I want to play with you anymore, she said, tossing down the cards. You're getting very waspish. The hands had had their outing and lay recovering on the table. Adam looked at the other hands alongside, but the woman was still staring at nothing. Then the magazine slid off the lap of the sleeping young man and fell to the floor. There was an LP filed inside it, and they landed with a thump. The young man, not asleep after all, sat up startled and groped for them, but the woman bent down to pick them up and returned them to him, so calmly proffering them in her mutilated hand. I see you have the best recording, she said. He looked pleased. Do you think so? Oh, yes. Sometimes any good performance will do, especially if you're hard up. But it has to be Ashkenazi for this one, hard up or not. Oh, yes, he said, cradling his record, properly awake now and eager. They began to talk quietly across the gangway. Adam could hear nothing, but he saw everything. Even a tired, untidy woman with a smashed hand could make a young man smile. His mother watched them too. She had missed her chance to make a young man smile. She leaned across the table and poked Connie unkindly. Wake up, Con. You know you always feel terrible if you sleep too long on trains. Connie opened her eyes, snorting and blinking. I said, you always feel terrible if you sleep on trains. Do I? Connie sounded bewildered. I wasn't properly asleep. What was that last stop, Ipswich? Manningtree. We're coming into Ipswich now. I knew we'd stopped somewhere, said Connie on the defensive. Just dozing. She borrowed for cigarettes. Oh, God, now I've run out too. Have one of mine. Adam, would you mind going along to the buffet again to get Mrs. Hips some more cigarettes? I'll go, said Connie. They were both out of favour now and sat side by side, under small personal clouds looking out of the window. Well, aren't you going? He stood up. It's all right, I'll go, said Connie as he squeezed past. I don't mind, really. You minded when I asked you to fetch my coffee, said his mother. Don't imagine you're going to be waited on hand and foot just because I've given up working. You better give him some money, Con, before he demands it with menaces. Ladies and gentlemen, this really is a joke. She's my mother. She will understand each other. Here's the £5, said Connie. Don't lose the change, said his mother. Don't stand there in the aisle. The train had stopped again, and people were trying to push past him on the way out, among them the woman and the young man. Get out of the way, Adam, for heaven's sake. You may be an idiot, but you don't have to prove it. He dodged into the first-class corridor, wondering how the other 3 darlings would take to becoming errand boys. He did it for love. She did not love them and did not pretend to. They got along. That was enough. That was civilised. When he reached the buffet car, he found 2 people ahead of him at the bar, the woman and the young man buying beer. He felt he should approach them and explain. Not to apologise, but merely to clarify the situation. You see, she didn't mean to be unkind about your hand. It's not unkindness, but she compares herself with people and she has to be the best. She has to be perfect. You can see that, can't you? Perfect. She's my mother. I understand her. Excuse me, it's hard to explain. Excuse me. They were buying sandwiches too. Do you want to take this lot back to the compartment? Said the young man. I'd as soon stay here. There's plenty of room. I don't think I could sit and listen to that bitch of a woman all the way to Norwich. I did hope Darling might do her in, said the young man, but I went to sleep and when I woke up, Jesus, she was still at it. I don't like to see children crucified in public. Perhaps he'll push her out on a quiet stretch, said the woman. Carrying their beer and sandwiches, they moved to a vacant table, never knowing that he stood there. What a pity we're not going north. There's that lovely viaduct at Durham. She'd never survive the drop. What had the poor little devil done anyway, said the young man. I gather she's marrying again, after 7 years of being her own woman, as she so prettily put it. Darling's in for a thin time, I'm afraid. He paid for the cigarettes, pocketed the change, and walked back down the first-class corridor towards the hippo and the bitch.